Ooh, that looks tasty.
Our kingdom is under attack, and I don't know what to do. Boss, I got an idea. Let's pray to the gods, that the great hands of the gods, millions of them, place towers along the paths to defeat our enemies for us. Then all we have to do is send a few heroes out to take all the glory. That's brilliant. Welcome, folks. Today the Hungry Gamer is back with another game review, and today we are talking about Kingdom Rush Rift in Time, designed by Helena Hope, Sin-Fung Lim, and Jesse Wright, and published by Lucky Duck Games. Now, before I jump in, please make sure you turn on your Klingon subtitles, because if I make any mistakes in the rules overview, that's where you'll find the corrections. And what Kingdom Rush is it is a tower defense game that is based on, my understanding is, the phone app tower defense game of, I'm assuming, the same name. I actually haven't played it. And if you're not familiar with a tower defense game, what's going on is you have bad guys moving along the path, or in this case, paths, and you have your towers out that are attacking the bad guys as you go, and you're trying to kill them all before they can get into your kingdom. And in this game, you also get various heroes that can jump out and do a little fighting for you as well as you're playing. And there is a loose story to the game. You can play through 10 scenarios in which you are trying to deal with all these time portals that are showing up and causing all kinds of problems for everybody. Now, if you are not interested in how this game is played and just want to jump ahead to my final thoughts, then you want to go to the timestamp on the screen right now. For those of us still here, let's talk about how this game works. And it's actually fairly simple. Each player will choose a hero, and the base game comes with 5. This here is Lilith, as you can see. And each hero will also have a variety of special abilities that they have for each individual scenario. And in addition to that, they have a starting set of towers that they get. And then the next thing you'll do is you will make a stack of horde cards, and you'll place a stack on each of the spawn points in the game. This one that I have set up that I just finished, which was a failure, I might add, you'll see that there are 3 spawn points. There's one here, one there, and one there. And each one of those would have its own stack of these cards. And then each round of the game, a new one would come out onto the board. And that means a tray goes out, and you flip over the horde, and you'll see the monsters that are on there. And you'll notice as you're glancing here that there are different symbols. That means each monster or whatever it is in the horde has slightly different abilities. This one can heal things that are there. This one means they go faster, and so on and so forth. But you take it and you place it out on the board. Then after that, you play all of your tower cards and you play your heroes. And so all that means is each player will have selected what color they're going to be. In this case, I have green and purple out there. And then and in the scenario setup, it will have told you where to place each player's color on the board. And that's where each player can place their tiles. So the green player can only place them on green tiles, and they take their various types of towers and they place them out. So for example, if purple were to place this tower right here, you simply do what it says right there. I get to take a 2x1 and place it out in this orientation onto this horde right there. And then I get to take 2 1x1s and they shoot out that way. So I could place, say, that one right here and that one right there. And as you can imagine, there are multiple types of towers, and they come in 4 basic flavors. You have your artillery style, which can level up to 4 different styles of tower. You have your archer towers, you have your mage towers, and you have your soldier towers. And what's interesting about soldier towers is these are the only ones that you can actually play on top of another tower. So I could have my archer there shooting as it did, then I could also play a soldier on top of that, and then take a soldier out and let him fight somebody as well. Then, once you've done that, and you have played your hero, which involves you taking your hero and placing it out wherever you want, and you'll notice that the hero covers up 4 of those different hordelings, I will call them. And then whatever your hero's attack is, and I'll just throw that out there just for sake of argument,
Then you enter into the next phase of the game, which is remove destroyed horde trays, in which case any horde tray that it has none of its enemies showing has been destroyed. You remove it from the game, and then you flip it over, and on the back, it tells you what your reward is, and it'll be some number of gems. Then once that's done, you advance horde trays that are going to move. Now, any horde tray that has a miniature on it doesn't actually move, it stays there, but everyone that does not have one moves one step closer to your kingdom. In this case, this one would have moved twice, and I would have taken 1 damage for every uncovered little baddie there. So that actually would have killed me right there. And everybody moves, and then you enter into making any purchases. That's where you get to spend your hard-won gems, and you can buy yourself new towers of the level 1 or the level 2 variety, and then you start a new round. New round, you get a new spawn from the 3 spawn points, and on and on and on you go. In most of the scenarios, you have to destroy all of the portal cards that come out. These are these purple ones. Some of them are different. You have to fight a boss of some sort. Maybe you got a big dude like that, or maybe a smaller boss like one of those. In general, you are fighting and trying to accomplish an objective before your kingdom is overwhelmed. And that's basically how this game works. So, what do I like about this game? First off, I really like the way the game looks. It's just very cartoonish and fun, but to me, it's just charming. The way these towers look is charming. I actually think these miniatures are actually great fun. I'll actually probably wind up painting these as well. The art, it really makes me think of a tower defense phone game. And I really enjoy that. Even down to these little transparencies. It's very clever. I like how easily you're able to mark where you go and who gets what area where they can place their towers, and this changes based on how many players that you're playing with, and it just works quite well. It's just very, very clever. But I think what I like the most is just the core gameplay of the game, which is a good thing because it's a game. But the core gameplay is you're trying to cover up these tiles here, and you're making those decisions. Oh, do I want to actually send my hero onto the tile because I'm going to get hurt, but they'll cover up 4 and they'll do what they're going to do. But if I don't want to do that, I'm going to have to take care of these things solely with my towers. And so now I have to figure out where am I going to place these towers? Because if I place this one here, then that's fine. But now that's the orientation of this symbol. So I'm going to take this one. Okay, oh, well, that's good for this one. I can put that one there. But then maybe I'm not purple, or maybe purple doesn't have this type of tower, and so they're stuck with something else. Maybe all they have is this archer, and you never know what it is that you're going to get because each one of these towers shoots a different shape thing. So as you're playing, you're trying to figure out the best way to cover all of these things, but at the same time, not only are you limited by the shapes that you have, because obviously it has to fit in the tray, but you're also, in most cases, limited by the orientation of what it is that you're putting out. So in this case, that would work really well. Let's say I wanted to get that shape right there, and only my green player has the mage tower. Well, now I'm placing it like this, and that orientation just does not work in a way that is very helpful, because now it's sitting there. But on the other hand, had purple had it, it would have been absolutely perfect, and then I'm hitting that and I'm covering it exactly as needed. And this is actually not the best example, but I'm hoping you understand what's going on because you're trying to figure out the best way to puzzle all of this out, and then when you're going to send in your hero, which, because I know you would think, oh, you always send in your hero, but that's not always the case because your hero is going to get hurt. Every single time it ends around on a tile, it's going to get hit by somebody. And at the same time, there's also a benefit because if they're on that tile, it's not going to move, so it's not getting close to you, but you are getting hurt. And it's not a huge deal if you get defeated. Your hero just misses a turn, but missing that one turn can just be devastating. So there's this constant puzzle that you're trying to work out with your heroes and with your placing your towers and then how the polyominoes go out there. But then that's not it, because the most ingenious part of the way this game works is the way you upgrade your towers. Because I mentioned at the beginning that there's multiple types of towers. So for example, we have our archer, which has the basic one like that, which is just a 2x2 that has to be in that orientation. But then level 2, you have an L that can rotate however you want it. Then level 3, you just get to put 3 singles out wherever you want, and it can shoot 2 spaces away. And then if you get all the way up to your level 4, maybe you have this one here, the musketeer, that can send out singles anywhere on the whole board. And so you really want to upgrade those things. And not to mention the fact that some of these portals can only be hurt by certain level towers. This thing right here cannot even be hurt unless it's hit by a level 3. Oh, and I forgot to tell you that every time you hurt one of the portals with a tower, it's going to destroy the tower. So you have to be really efficient with those. And so it's this lovely puzzle. And every single thing you do is a puzzle that you're trying to figure out. And I just think it's great. I think the game is perfectly streamlined as far as the gameplay goes. It's very easy to play. It's very hard to win. It might be I'm not good at the game, but it's a very, very challenging game. And I also appreciate that because the mechanics are so streamlined, it's done a pretty good job of cutting down on fiddliness. Often in this kind of game, you are just swamped with tokens and things that you need to track, and it can be overwhelming. And that's not to say there's not a lot of tokens in this game, because there are. I mean, you have your archer towers are putting those out, your magic towers are putting those out, your artilleries are putting those out, then you have soldiers that you're putting out, and then just the 2 heroes that I have, they're putting out those like that, and that doesn't even bring into account what happens if you're playing with 2 more heroes, and then there's even more symbols out there, and they're all in different shapes, and there are a lot of tokens, but what there are not are a ton of tokens outside of the polyominoes that you need. There are 4 gems that are going to track who is what color. There's a couple of these portal tiles, and there's some gems and some hearts. And that's it. And the reason that becomes so simple is because of the way the upgrades work, because you're not trying to save up a bunch of things to do an upgrade. No, it's just simple. You know what? I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to pass it to the next person, and then it's going to upgrade to the next level. Done. It's easy, and it is satisfying. And as I already said, it adds to the puzzle of, well, I know I'm going to need a level 3 tower to beat this thing later on, so maybe earlier in the game I'm going to make a less efficient move just so I can pass on this artillery tower, so it's going to come back as a howitzer so I can use that later on in the game. And I keep talking about how satisfying the puzzle is, and it just is. It's just everything about this is a fun puzzle. And then the last 2 things I really appreciate. One, I like these little trays. When I saw them, I was like, why are there trays? That seems unnecessary, but it's not, because what it does is it makes it so much easier when you start wailing on things to keep everything contained as you're moving. You pick it up and you can move it. And I just think it is a lovely, lovely little touch. But the last thing is, I really like the heroes. They're not hugely different, but they are different enough. The different powers that they have are different enough that every single one feels unique. And there's only 5 of them. And then you're able to mix and match their special abilities that they have, because you can have a max of 2 in each game. And so each one feels different. They play different. Then they're all easy to pick up, and they all have their own strengths and weaknesses, but it's not overly complex. And I really do enjoy that. So what are my quibbles with the game? And I only have a few. The first one is, it's really hard. It's a very hard game, and maybe I'm just not very good at it, but I find this game to be very challenging. And that is, I think, a good thing, but it might be frustrating for you if you are always having to play on the easy difficulty level. It's much more satisfying to be able to kind of ramp up to a harder and harder difficulty level. And the second thing is, though I think they've done a good job of minimizing the amount of fiddliness in the gameplay, it is a little fiddly to set up. And that's because each one of these portals has a very specific stack that you have to create. And it tells you exactly, okay, you're going to start out with a level 1 wolf style horde, and then that's going to be on the bottom. Then on top of that, you're going to have a level 4 wolf style horde. Then on top of that, you're going to have a level 5 wolf horde. Then on top of that, you're going to have a level 0 goblin. And then on top of that, you're going to have a portal. And you have to take some time to lay out each individual stack. And it can feel a little bit slow and, well, fiddle. And then along with that, because each stack is the same every game. Now, it doesn't mean that the hordes are all the same, because there are multiple of each type of horde you can get. It is possible that after 30 plays, 40 plays, you're going to feel like you've solved it, and then you're going to want to go and pick up some of the expansions, which may be a good thing, may be a bad thing. It just kind of depends on your take on it. And it's one of the things that I really wish that maybe in the future Lucky Duck will release just some variant stacks for each of the 10 scenarios that you have, because that could just refresh things so quickly and so easily, and that would add a lot to the replay, I think. But there you have it, folks. That is Kingdom Rush. If you can't tell, I really like this game. I don't have many tower defense style games. In fact, I only own 2 any kind of defense style games. I have Castle Panic, which is not a tower defense, it's a castle defense game. And now I have this one. And this one's definitely going to stay on my shelf because it's just fun. It takes everything about these style of mobile games that I like, which is the puzzle and building your towers and fighting the things, but it adds to it this fun little polyomino puzzle, and it's easy to upgrade, and there is no time crunch. Now, I have never played this Kingdom Rush mobile app, but in all the ones I have played, it always gives you X amount of time to set up your towers, and I'm always so bad at it. But now I get to stop, I get to think, I get to puzzle, I get to plan, and that's really, really satisfying, especially when you do a good job of it. So I really think if you are looking for a tower defense board game, you are no longer looking. Here it is, you are done. Now, it doesn't mean there's not other very good ones out there. There certainly are, but this one is very, very good. It's very fun. And I'm really looking forward to playing a lot more of this over the holidays. In fact, I'm on a little break from school right now for Thanksgiving, and this is going to stay on my table for the foreseeable future as I try to get all the way through to the end. So there you have it, folks. That is Kingdom Rush Rift in Time. I think this is a real winner of a game, and it's a great one that you can set up relatively quickly outside of the stacking, get out on the table, play in an hour, be done, and there's just not that many games that have a really deep puzzle feel that I can play in an hour or less on my shelf right now. And I really, really appreciate that. So if I made any mistakes in the rules explanation at the beginning, and I probably did, please let me know in the comments with the timestamp. I'll get that into the Klingon subtitles. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.